Hi, everybody. I'm here at the Katy Visual and Performing Arts Center in beautiful Katy. And the folks here with the Encore Players are getting ready to put together their production of Frederick Knott's classic American thriller, Wait Until Dark. And I've come to join them and find out what's going on with the production and see what's up out here in Katy. It's the first time Houston Theater Beat has been to Katy, by the way.
Thanks for coming.
And we're very glad to be featuring the Katy theaters on the show. I'm being joined today by Sibby Bowden. She's the director of Wait Until Dark. Also, Gregory Magyar, who is both the artistic director of the Encore Players and here at KVPAC. And he's also playing Harry Rote, very terrifying role. And on the end, we have Autumn Woods, who's playing Susie Hendricks. And you guys, thank you so much for being on Houston Theater Beat. It's great to have you on the show and find out what's going on with one of my favorite scripts of all time. It's one of my favorite shows. Sibby, I have a story. I always have a story. My home theater back in Tampa did the show. This was at least 15 years ago. I produced it, which meant that I got to play policeman number 2 at the very end because I got to make a cameo. But I remember, even though our audience for those performances were familiar with the show and kind of knew what was coming, the sheer terror that you could feel, it is one of really the true gripping thrillers of the American theater. I don't think people really appreciate that. Can you talk to the Houston Theater Beat audience about what it's been like for you bringing Wait Until Dark to life here on your stage?
Absolutely. I too remember that horrifying moment, but I have never seen it on stage. I'm only familiar with the Audrey Hepburn version that was made into a television movie, or movie. I guess it was a major release.
It was a feature film.
Oh, you can see it on TV now.
It was indeed.
And I remember it was a very, 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 very long time ago when I saw it. And I remember, because I was quite young, I remember being absolutely horrified by it. And it has stuck with me through all these years. I have never seen it on the live stage, so I'm actually really thrilled to be able to direct it on the live stage, and so for that experience to be new for me. So when when Gregory picked the show, and we didn't know who was going to direct it yet, and he asked me to direct it, and I was just so thrilled because not only will it be, like I said, the first time for me to see it on stage, but also to obviously be a big part of it in directing it.
Good. That's wonderful. Fantastic. And Gregory, let me ask you about Harry Rote first, and then we'll talk about KVPAC, because there's a lot going on here at KVPAC. It's one of the dynamic theater venues in all of the area, quite frankly. Talk about Harry Rote. He must be a lot of fun. What a great actor's role for you.
He is. He's a lot of fun, and he's scary, but it's not just him. I mean, you're really playing a collection of characters when you assume this role. He's Harry Rote Sr., he's Harry Rote Jr., and then some more even for brief moments. And so I think that's the fun part of him. I will be working on him until the day we open, I'm sure.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And discovering things.
Absolutely.
Sure, absolutely. And put on your artistic director hat for just a moment and give the Houston Theater Beat audience some idea of your tremendous schedule here at KVPAC.
We're a huge program, and Katy Visual Performing Arts Center is just that. It's visual and performing arts for everyone. And we start with a preschool program that's arts-based, an arts-based academic preschool program. From there, we have performing and visual arts classes that run after-school program and all day during the summer. For all ages, so we're starting at age 3 and going all the way up through 18-year-olds.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And then we have opportunities for adults, and that really is what our mission states: is that we're here to provide opportunities for artists and emerging artists of all ages at any level.
That's fantastic. So theoretically, the whole family could come and be involved in KVPAC programs.
Absolutely.
That's great. That's absolutely great. Autumn, let's talk about Susie. You have some big heels to fill with, of course, the original Broadway version was Lee Remick. She was nominated for a Tony Award, one of the great Broadway performances. And then film, we always think of Audrey Hepburn, of course, being an American icon. What has the experience been like for you? And of course, I have to ask the question, what has been the challenge for you of playing the blind character, which is always a challenge for the actress playing Susie?
Well, there are several challenges that come with it, and One of the biggest ones, at least as a trained actor, is having to remember to never make eye contact with anybody.
Right.
That is very challenging for me.
Right.
And to constantly keep my eyes darting and not focused, but still focusing with everything else in my body,
Right.
so that the audience still knows what's going on and they know that I know I'm cognizant of what's going on, even though one of my senses is impaired.
Right. I remember the actress at the last production I was involved in said it goes against all my training.
Exactly.
I'm always taught
Exactly.
to focus and look, and I can't do it this time, and it's a great challenge for the actress playing it.
Yes.
That's great. Thanks, you guys. Well, everybody stay tuned, because what we're going to see right now is one of the most thrilling and exciting scenes from Wait Until Dark, and that's coming up right now.
I'll give you the doll if you just promise to go and leave us alone.
You have to say, please, may I give you the doll?
Please. May I give you the doll?
You may. Oh, you are clever, aren't you? A little arrogant at times, but clever. Now go and put it on the table. Now back to your place. Now, may I have the key to the bedroom? And now, if you'll go into the bedroom, please.
You have what you want now. If you just go, I'll never give you away if you just go.
I'd like to do that, Susie, but I have a rule that has to be obeyed. You know the one I mean? That clever, arrogant girls have to be punished.
No!
I'm only doing what you were going to do to me. I'm going to lock you in there. Go on. That's right. But you mustn't shout. I'll hear you call for help. I'll set fire to the stairs. Then no one will be able to help you until the firemen arrive. And by that time...
Wow, you guys, thank you so much for that wonderful scene from Wait Until Dark here at Katy Visual and Performing Arts Center in Katy. And Gregory, you have the information. Tell the Houston Theater Beat audience about the dates of the show, tickets, where to go online to find information. And special note to the Houston Theater Beat audience, stay on top of this one because it is a limited run. So you would tell everybody about that?
Yes, it is one weekend only, October 3rd and 4th at 8 p.m., and then a Sunday matinee on October 5th at 2. Tickets are available now online at kvpac.org, or better still, to find out everything that we're doing here at our theater, you can find us at the theater at KVPAC on Facebook.
Excellent. So everybody remember, the KVPAC website is www.kvpac.org. Don't forget, KVPAC is a .org theater, or even better, just search for their Facebook page And when you find it, you can find all the information you need about everything going on here at KVPAC in Katy during what's going to be a very exciting upcoming 2014-2015 season, I'm sure. So I'd like to thank my guests today, Sibby Bowden, who's the director of Wait Until Dark, Gregory Magyar, who's the artistic director here at KVPAC and is playing the scary Mr. Harry Rote, and Autumn Woods, who's playing Susie Hendricks. And everybody stay tuned. We'll be back with more of the show in just a moment. Hi, everybody. I'm here at Company Onstage, and I'm here with the director and some of the cast members of their upcoming production of William Shakespeare's The Tempest, and I'm very glad to be joined today by the director of The Tempest, Mr. Lonnie Westing, who's right here. And I have two of the actors playing very important roles in the show. I have John Kaiser, who's playing Prospero, and then also Helen Rios, who's playing Miranda. And you guys, thank you very much for being on Houston Theater Beat this month. It's great to have you join us. Lonnie, I wanted, this is the kickoff show. This is the show that's about kicking off the 2014-2015 season in the theater community. And I definitely wanted to have one of the Shakespeare productions because I think it's a great thing that it seemed for a while there wasn't very much.
Dry spell.
There was a dry spell, and now there's a whole lot, and it's all been really, really good.
Yeah.
And so tell the Houston Theater Beat audience a little bit about the choice of The Tempest, what you're experiencing with it from your point of view, and also maybe what you want the audience to take away from Company Onstage's production.
Well, this is, we're kicking off our season, of course, under a new artistic director.
Sure.
So The Tempest was kind of a choice that came to us. We were playing between this or Midsummers, and I had an idea for The Tempest that I wanted to carry around that I had in my head for probably about a year and a half.
Sure.
Which is setting it in a fairly dark setting in an asylum in the 1950s.
Very cool.
So I wanted to observe things from the point of view of Prospero's mind.
Okay.
The show talks about freedom, and incarceration is kind of there's no freedom there.
Right.
So this is kind of another way for us to kind of tell the story within this kind of separate world.
Sure. So the resetting is insane asylum?
Yeah, it's an asylum in the
Yes.
50s. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, most definitely.
Good.
So,
And I'm sure the actors are having a ball with that.
They are.
Good. Very, very cool. Very cool.
Who doesn't love going crazy?
Right, absolutely. And let's talk about that. John Kaiser, of course, is a very familiar face to Houston theater-going audiences. John, he's one of those bucket list great roles in all of Shakespeare. What are you having the most fun with? What has the experience been like for you? Have you done Prospero before?
I have done it before. I did it about, I'm going to say 40 years ago when I was much too young for it.
Sure.
But it's fun to do it again, and yet it's brand new. It's as if it was kind of hanging in the corner of my mind and I was able to put it on in a new way. You find new meanings in every word. In the time since I first did the part, I've done a lot of plays, and I have learned a lot of things from watching a lot of good people work, and I've learned how to look at a script, and you find new things in it all the time. It's just great.
Helen, talk about Miranda. She's one of Shakespeare's great heroines, so to speak, and one of the great ingenue roles in all of Shakespeare. What's been the most challenging thing for you, or what are you learning from as an actress from doing Miranda? What's the experience been like for you?
Well, it's actually been a fantastic experience so far. Really, when I was looking up the role as Miranda, I was seeing critiques of her kind of, downplaying feminism. It's like feminism going down the drain with the role of Miranda, because she seems subservient to not only Prospero but to Ferdinand. But with the discussion with Lonnie and the rest of the cast, she is a strong character, and that's what I want to bring out, and that's what we want to bring out from Miranda. It's her being a strong character, not only disobeying her father's rules, but also, she's educated. She is not spending her time with etiquette classes or being ladylike.
She was homeschooled.
She was homeschooled. That's all she had. Her whole world is in the island. She doesn't know what she's supposed to act like.
Well, everybody stay tuned for just a second, because what we're going to see right now is a wonderful scene from The Tempest, from the actors here at Company Onstage, and that's coming up right now.
By my modesty, I would not wish any companion in the world but you. But I prattle something too wildly, and my father persists, I dare and do forget.
I am, in my condition, a prince, Miranda. I do think a king I would not so and no more endure this wooden slavery than to suffer the flesh fly blow my mouth. Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you, did my heart fly to your service. There resides to make me slave to it. And for your sake, I am this patient logman.
Do you love me?
Oh heaven! Oh earth, bear witness to this sound! And crown what I profess with kind event, if I speak true, if hollowly invert what best is boded me to mischief, I, beyond all limit of what else I the world do love, prize, and honor you.
I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Their encounter of two most rare affections. May the heavens rain grace on that which breeds between them.
Wherefore weep you?
At my unworthiness, that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and all the more it seeks to hide itself, the bigger bulk it shows. But hence, bashful cunning, and prompt me plain and holy innocence. I am your wife, if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your maid. To be your fellow, you may deny me, but I'll be your servant whether you will or no.
My mistress, dearest, I thus humble ever.
My husband, then?
Aye, and with the heart as willing as bondage ere of freedom. Here's my hand.
And mine, with my heart in it. And now farewell, till half an hour hence.
1,000,000.
So glad of this as they, I cannot be, but my rejoicing at nothing could be less. Out to my book, for yet ere supper time have I much business appertaining.
Lonnie and actors, thank you so much for sharing that scene from Company Onstage's Tempest with the Houston Theater Beat audience. Good stuff, great stuff, I would say. And I know that they're going to want to come down and join the Company Onstage family and see the show when it's running. So can you give the Houston Theater Beat audience the information about the website, tickets,
Sure.
dates?
Sure. It's www.companyonstage.org. We're located at 536 Westbury Square. We have performances running from October 17th through November 8th, with two matinees, October 26th and November 2nd at 2 p.m. And tickets are $18.
Oh, that's a very reasonable price. So everybody, don't forget, Company Onstage's website is www.companyonstage.org. Don't forget, Company Onstage is a .org theater. Visit their website, check out also their Facebook page. I know there's probably quite a bit of information there. And get all the information you need about their production of The Tempest, which is coming up in October, so that you can come and join them and see this fantastic production of one of William Shakespeare's most classic works. Well, everybody, I'd like to thank my guests for this segment. Lonnie Westine, who's the director of The Tempest here at Company Onstage, John Kaiser, who's playing Prospero, and Helen Rios, who's playing Miranda. And everybody stay tuned, because we're going to be back with more of the show in just a moment.
Hi Hi everyone, I'm here today with the very talented Marco Camacho, and I'm so excited to have you here with us on Houston Theater Beat. Marco is an actor in Houston, and he's going to tell us today about some of his work and experience as a musical theater actor. So Marco and I, just to give you a little background, we first met when we sang at a theater gala together, which was so much fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
A little too much fun backstage, but we won't talk about that. Well, so I have to ask you, if you even remember this, what was your very first role?
Gosh, I remember my first professional role. I was young and I did Annie at the Wortham Theater downtown. And so I played like a newspaper boy or something like that. and you know, starting off on such a, you know, grand scale of things, I thought, this is awesome. This is, you know, that adrenaline and that rush that you get looking out into the audience and just, you know, seeing this beautiful big theater. It's just, you know, that's really what sparked it for me. I was a munchkin in The Wizard of Oz growing up. My mom took me to, they had a audition for a bunch of young kids in the community for a high school production of The Wizard of Oz. So I auditioned and I played a munchkin.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, Marco's about 6'2", so I'm a little shocked to hear that you played a munchkin.
It was way back, and I probably was the tallest munchkin of them all. But yeah, no. So those are the two things that I remember vividly.
So I know, like we were talking earlier, and I know you told me you're most of your work has been in musical theater because you are such a great dancer and singer and actor. You have like your triple threat. And so what is your process when you're preparing for a role? And it's, I mean, obviously you're doing all of these different things and you try and combine them all together, for musical theater. Do you have any type of particular process for that? How do you really sink into your character?
I really like, I research a lot. So I'll research past productions, I'll see where a character or where a production originated. I love movies. I love watching movies. My roommate and I watch tons of movies all the time. And so I like to kind of find different characters that I would like to pull from and kind of, you know, think about where this character comes from, what their background or their story is that you don't really necessarily know when you're watching the show, and kind of, you know, really dig down deep into, you know, figure out what their mannerisms are, or, you know, what their mindset is, what their goals are, where they've come from, what they've struggled with, what they want. And it's a lot of, you know, in school I was very into psychology and sociology and kind of, you know, figuring out how people act, you know, in group settings or by themselves and what different mannerisms mean. And so it's very interesting for me to get a script and to, you know, read the whole thing and then go back and think, well, you know, maybe this is how this role has been portrayed in the past, but what would my take be on it?
So Marco, what has been your most challenging role so far in your career?
My most challenging role? It's actually one of my most favorite roles too. It was Princeton and Rod in Avenue Q. I had to learn puppetry, which is a whole, I mean...
Oh, wow.
people think that it's, you know, you pick up a puppet and, you know, you make it talk, but, I mean, we had a whole week dedicated. We had a guy fly down that was part of the cast of Avenue Q that came in and gave us a whole week-long boot camp, a puppet boot camp. And so it was very challenging, and it was frustrating at times too, because you know, you have this puppet and, you know, you got to think about how people breathe before they talk. And, you know, you're also moving the head whenever, you know, your head as well as the puppets.
Oh, at the same time?
At the same time. And so you also have to have the puppet in front of you. You can't block other people. And I'm so tall, and my love interest and my co-star was a lot shorter than I was. So, you know, to get those levels and everything, you know, you really have to think about so many things at the same time. And then, you know, let's just throw on singing, dancing, and acting on top of it.
So I have to ask you, is there a certain type of character or role that you are drawn to typically? Do you have a kind of standard, stereotypical role you go out for, or tell me about that?
I love comedy.
Okay.
I love making people laugh. It's just something growing up that I've always liked to do. And I think what really, you know, kind of got me on this roller coaster of theater is that I loved performing and making people laugh. And just, you know, the moments that you get when, you know, you've got the audience and then they're laughing and they're having a great time. It's the best feeling ever. And so I love, you know, researching musicals and, you know, finding the comedic roles and, you know, being able to relate to make people laugh. And then recently I've actually, you know, in Next to Normal, I just played Henry. And it was,
tell me about that.
it was, I mean, it's a deeper show, and it's, you know, it's kind of, you know, a whole different level of, you know, stuff that I'm used to doing, and I love it. I love being able to just pour out so much emotion. Thankfully, this past year, I got to play 3 roles that I've wanted to play. Princeton, Rod and Avenue Q, Jack in Into the Woods with Main Street Theater, and Henry Next to Normal. So 3, you know, kind of standing, you know, back and looking at just this past year, it just really shows how many opportunities are here in Houston.
Well, my last question is, I mean, what advice could you give to those actors out there that are just starting out and they're maybe going on their first audition, they're trying to break into the musical theater scene? What kind of advice could you give them?
My advice to them is never give up. Never give up. I know that this is what I want to do. It's tough. It's so tough. I mean, there are days where, you know, you think to yourself, like, I must be crazy because this is, you know, this is unlike any other job. And I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. And just to be somebody that, you know, for 2 hours away from all the drama, away from the day jobs, away from the schoolwork, away from the drama, it's the best feeling. And so it gets tough, but if you just keep believing in yourself and keep going, you can do so much, and you will go far. You will go far.
Well, that's definitely great advice, Marco. Thank you so much. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's been such a pleasure, and we certainly all look forward to seeing you in your next production, whatever that may be. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on Houston Theater Beat. And until next time, we'll see you at the show.